All right, guys, I'm back with the lesson that I learned as a newbie chaplain, and I am going to share it with you because you're going to run into it too. And if you're a seasoned chaplain and follow this channel, chime in, give us some advice there too as well. So this is so common and it's sneaky, guys, which is why I felt like I needed to raise this. And this is when a family tries to triangulate you. Triangulation, like a triangle, which is basically when a family is having conflict and they pull you in as the chaplain to side with them, okay? It is something that I would say all the time. When you meet a family for the first time, or maybe even the first couple times, a few conversations, you are entering that family's life at a specific moment in time, right? Freeze frame. Their loved one is on hospice, but they've lived a whole life with an entire family dynamic before you, Mr. and Mrs. Chaplain, walked into the picture, okay? Before you showed up, they had a whole family dynamic, right? Bowen's family system theory, anyone? Yeah. A whole family system existed before you showed up. And so what does that look like when you are being pulled into family drama is the best way to say it. So I'm going to give an example. Of course, I always take out details, y'all, to protect the guilty. And this was a while back. So this particular family, their parent was on hospice. And this family had multiple children. I won't say how many, but they had multiple children. But like many families, there was some estrangement with one of the siblings. So one of the siblings was not coming around, had a rough life, all the things that had kind of caused the family to pull away from them. Or maybe they pulled away from the family. You never know the truth. That's the thing about triangulation. I'm like, yeah, you can be like, oh, I'm super discerning and my discernment's on point. Let me tell you something. I have therapist friends who will tell you all the time, people will look you dead in your eye and lie to you over and over again. You have to remember that you are dealing with what the family tells you, and that is limited to what they tell you, okay? So I started working with this family, and I'm talking to the patient's children because the patient was at end-stage dementia. So what they couldn't remember, that sort of thing was questionable. So I'm talking to the family to fill in the picture, right? To color in the lines about what's going on with this patient. And the siblings start telling me about how terrible the estranged sibling is. They talk about violence. They talk about restraining orders. They talk about like painting a picture like this is not good for our parent. This, our sibling is causing our parent spiritual distress. And as a chaplain, you're like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Because our whole goal is to alleviate spiritual and emotional suffering, right? From patients. So you're hearing this from one side of the picture, right? One side of the family. And they asked me specifically, what we want you to do, Leslie, is come in and talk to our parent. But we want you to talk to our parents specifically about their relationship with this estranged sibling. Now, what's wrong with this picture, y'all? What's wrong with it? I'm going to tell you because y'all ask such great questions. Number one, in patient-centered care, even with someone who's dealing with dementia, it should be patient-sourced, patient-led, patient-identified when possible what they want to talk about. When a family comes to you with something that feels like an agenda, notice I said feels like an agenda because to use the word agenda feels kind of judgy to me. And I don't always think that families are intentionally trying to pull you into a triangle. Some are, but I don't think all are. I think they're just trying to cope with their loved one dying, right? And again, they've had a history before you showed up. And so, but when they start talking to you, when a family starts talking to you about what they want you to discuss with the patient, your spidey senses should start going off. Okay. So I listened to them talk to me about what they wanted me to talk to their parent about. And I just listened. I didn't know what to say. I was trying to separate my emotions because what they shared that I did not share in this video really kind of activated me because of the cruelty that was being shared supposedly by this other, what this other sibling did. But what I asked is this. I said, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I can only imagine the stress and strain that this is causing on not only you guys as his sibling, but more importantly, your parent. And they were like, absolutely, absolutely. And we just know that this is weighing on them. And we really want him to have the opportunity to talk to you and get this off of him. And I said, I understand your desire to comfort your parent. And I'm curious if your parent has said something to you specifically about this bothering them. How do you know that this is really weighing on your parent's heart? Crickets, right? And so again, it's bothering them. So they're like, it's got to be bothering my parent. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It may not be bothering the patient. And in my mind, as I was listening for what they were saying and then thinking about how to respond to what they were saying, I was like, this could actually cause distress for the father who may not even remember what happened with this child, right? Like this may cause stress as opposed to alleviating stress. And so what triangulation does, and you probably learned about this in a counseling class in seminary. I know I did. I learned about it in my family and marriage therapy class, is that there is conflict between two individuals and they pull in a third party to try to get you to side with them. And to make it real simple, my mother always used to say there are three sides to every story. Your version, their version, and the truth, right? So because you know that, you want to get very good about your questions and also drawing boundaries with the family. Now, drawing boundaries with the family can be hard too, because at the end of the day, we're not only there as chaplains to provide care to the patient, we're also there to provide spiritual and emotional care to the family. And the family is going to be the one that gets that survey from the government that rates hospice agencies that they use that score for after that person passes. So it's kind of a dance that you've got to do. But one of the things that I did specifically in this situation that I offer to you is I asked the question, how did they know that this was bothering their father? And then I said, what I will do for you is I won't bring up your sibling. But what I will do is something that I do with all patients, which is just ask them, is there anything weighing on your heart? Is there anything that's causing you anxiety or frustration or maybe even a little bit of anger right now? And if your sibling is the cause of any of that, hopefully they will surface that, and then I can engage them around it to see if it's causing them any type of distress. And then we can talk about coming up with coping tools to help them. And I can tell you the family was not happy with that answer, okay? But I had to stay integrous and not let them pull me into this triangle. And so I'm telling you, as sure as my name is Leslie, this is going to happen to you. So you want to be prepared. You as the chaplain, another way that they do this is, the family's Christian or the family's Muslim. The family has a particular religion, and the patient never professed that religion, but now that we're here at the end of life, the sibling, the spouse is like, I really want them to get saved. I really want them to get right with Allah. I really want them to get right with Jesus. I really want them to get right so that they can get into the special heavenly place on the other side of life, whatever their belief system is. Can you talk to them about religion? Can you talk to them about salvation? And we as chaplains know, absolutely not. We don't proselytize. But they will try to do that sort of thing with you. Or they will say things like, oh, they used to be Catholic when they were growing up, but they got away from it. But I bet if you talk to them about it now, they'd want to engage about it. They might not. But what I can tell you what this chaplain's going to do is ask general questions that give them the opportunity to explore those things. If the patient doesn't want to talk about it, I'm not talking about it with them. And that's what I would leave with you, my dear chaplain. Don't let people pull you into this triangle. Get some boundaries. We want to love and take care of the family. You want to honor and love and take care of that patient as well. So here's the thing I'll leave you with. With that family, because it was bothering them so much about the estranged sibling, I offered to coach and counsel them through that, their relationship with their sibling. And it worked out. So, follow your gut. And if you're new around these parts, let me introduce myself. My name is Leslie. I am creating videos that I wished existed when I was trying to discern to be a chaplain. So like, follow, comment, share. And until next time, grace and peace.